So we all know that Frosk has been saying some things on behalf of G4TV that it's very obvious that G4TV doesn't agree with, or at least they don't like the backlash from it. They don't like Frosk going out there and saying that inflammatory stuff that she was saying repeatedly, and then standing up for herself, and then doubling down on it on Twitter over and over again. And then, you know, she ended up wiping her Twitter timeline. I'm sure it had something to do with G4TV not liking the backlash, or maybe even not liking what she was saying exactly. But either way, G4TV has canceled certain shows, one of them being the one that Frosk was the host of, which was called Boosted, and also they rebranded from G4TV on YouTube at least. I think there's still G4TV on Twitch, but I don't know if that will change anytime soon, but at least on YouTube, they have rebranded from G4TV because the name has now been tainted, thanks to Frosk, and also some other people who were backing her up and seal clapping and things like that after she said the word sexism in gaming, because apparently that's some like divine phrase where I guess if you say it, everyone around you is forced to applaud. And now Frosk is responding to all the backlash and responding to everyone saying that she's been fired because her show was canceled. She did force a rebrand of G4TV to Xplay, and you know, there's really no denying it. There's a direct correlation. Maybe there's an off chance that the correlation here doesn't equal the causation, but I'm pretty sure anyone with common sense can see that the correlation does equal causation in this case. You know, Frosk was the only one that did anything to hurt the brand directly of G4TV. Yes, she had some background characters that agreed with her and tried to hype her up and stuff like that, and even G4TV came out themselves and said that they stood with Frosk. But there's no denying that they lost a lot of fans, that they got a lot of negative publicity, and no, not all publicity is good publicity. That's not the case. That's not true. That's not a true statement. Yes, it will get them some more fans, but in the long run, this is going to hurt G4's brand, and it's also going to hurt Frost's brand as well. But here is her response to everything that's going on right now, to G4 rebranding and everyone saying that she's been fired and all the backlash that she's been getting recently. She says in a tweet, "People making straight up lies to defame my character because it's easier to justify their random hate boner that way. Wild. Have never been fired, work really hard and make my teams pleasant." I find that hard to imagine. I don't think that working with you would be pleasant at all, but maybe I'm wrong. "Stand up for marginalized voices." Yeah, like women, right? That get to just, like Amaranth, right? She's very marginalized. Simply because she's a woman, she looks good, and let's be real, she only looks good because of her plastic surgery, and I don't even think she looks that good still. But anyway, she's so marginalized that all she has to do is get a couple plastic surgeries and she can get rich just simply off being a woman, just simply off the body parts that she has. Very marginalized, right? Because definitely there's a lot of men out there that get to do that. There's a lot of men out there that get to just make a living, not just make a living, make millions just off their looks. There's tons of men that can do that, right? No, there's not. But any random woman, any everyday woman, any teacher, any nurse, whatever it is, could do that if she decides to. If she decides to promote herself on Instagram more, make an OnlyFans, she could be an instant millionaire, or at least make 100K a year, something like that, just based off being a woman. But yet they're extremely marginalized. I find that really hilarious. We'll go into that more a little bit later on. Advocate for peers and colleagues. And then honestly, the replies were the funniest part. Here's my reply. I said, "At least G4 learned that hot women equals views, feminist cuts and septum rings equal cancel shows." I think that's the truth, and I think that everyone knows that inherently. I think everyone knows that subconsciously, that that's the case, but for whatever reason, they like the virtue signal. They think that the virtue signal will eventually work out, even though it just never does. The term "go woke, go broke" doesn't exist for no reason, and it's happening again with G4. You know, Frosk is the feminist cut with a septum ring, and not in a good way. You know, some people can make it look good. Frosk is not attractive to begin with, so whenever you add in the feminist cut and the septum ring and the messed up teeth and all the other stuff that she has going on with her, it really just doesn't help her case, and it doesn't make me want to watch G4TV anymore. Whereas if you have someone like Morgan Webb or Olivia Munn on there, it does make me want to watch G4TV just simply because of the people that you have on there and what they look like. But whenever you have someone like Frosk on there, it makes me, even if the content was really good, it makes me not want to watch because I do not want to look at that for more than 2 seconds. I can't. It makes me feel uneasy to look at that for more than 2 seconds. But anyway, Fat Steven says, "Never fired, just told to wipe your Twitter. Stand up for marginalized voices that none asked for nor needed of you to do." Exactly. Like I said, they're not actually marginalized. What she was standing for was marginalized women, which don't exist. Let's be real. It just doesn't exist. The new G4TV, shout out to Echo Base Network, by the way. The new G4TV you still work for, that sexism in gaming speech did not go over well, obviously. Yeah, this is where they had Amaranth on. They had some other people who were just doing things that very much objectify women, just like the good old G4TV used to do back in the day. Nothing wrong with it. They're just trying to get eyeballs. They understand what gets the eyeballs, and they put that on the screen. Mecha Random says, "Only commenting in hopes to get a shout out from whatever channel clips this in a video." I'm sure there's going to be tons and tons of channels that clip this in their videos because It's a very funny response, and the replies to Frosk's response is very funny. And here's my nerdy home. The hypocrisy of G4 is the issue. And here's Amaranth doing things in a ball pit. As a marginalized group member, I don't remember asking nor needing for you to stand up for me. By the power of white girl, I am offended on your behalf. That's really hilarious. We don't need to justify anything. We have receipts that prove your hypocrisy. So it goes on and on. It's just tons of people just roasting Frosk and challenging her beliefs, challenging her viewpoints. Whereas if you challenge her viewpoints, if you challenge her beliefs, she just responds with ad hominem attacks. And we see that, I believe it's right here. If you think feminist is an insult, you're probably an asshole. And instead of saying why feminist isn't an insult, instead of saying why the term feminist is a good thing to be, she just says you're an asshole. Once again, ad hominem attacks. But I don't agree that if you think that feminist is an insult, you're probably an asshole. I don't agree with that statement. I think that modern day feminism is very much toxic. It's a dangerous narrative that they try to propagate. It makes women themselves very miserable if you actually follow the teachings of feminism, which is to be independent of a man, go get your own job, make your own money, don't worry about men and stuff like that. That's not teaching you how to be a good woman, in my opinion. And we see that with the depression rates. We see that with how many, I think it's 1 in 4 women are on some sort of anxiety or depression medication. That's a crazy stat. And it's not the same for men. And a lot of people say it's because, women are more honest with their feelings and stuff like that. I don't think so. I think it's because of feminism. And a lot of people are saying, let's take down the patriarchy. We need to install the matriarchy into today's society. I really hope that does happen. I hope one day the patriarchy does fall, because as soon as the patriarchy falls and we install a matriarchy in, another patriarchy will just come and conquer us, because that's what's happened since the beginning of time. There has been no matriarchy that stood the test of time, and that's for a reason. It's because every single time a matriarchy comes to be, a patriarchy comes to conquer it. It's very easy. It's a very repeatable, it's a very easy pattern to recognize. But anyway, also those who say social justice warrior is a bad thing, these are huge red flags. Yeah, for sure, man. There's no point in even arguing with these people, because they're so far gone. The people who actually agree with Frosk on this stuff are so far gone, there's no point in trying to have a discussion. I just thought this reply was also pretty funny. I'm stuck in a generation where glorifying women and degrading men is what people consider equality. That's pretty much what feminism has become now, and that's why I don't agree with it. That's why I think it is an insult to be a feminist. It's because it's not really about empowering women to do things that women should be doing. It's about women becoming men, for one, and also it's about putting down the people who are already men. So I just don't think it's a very healthy movement for anyone involved, for the women or the men. I just think it makes women miserable and it puts men down in order to prop women up, which just doesn't make much sense to me on how that's a positive movement. Also, this one, you can just tell that she's bothered by the whole situation, by stuff like this. Yeah, Frost sucks, hate her. I guess one person who criticized her probably called her Frost instead of Frosk. And she went to Twitter to talk about it because she's very hurt about the situation. And it's very obvious that she's very hurt about the situation. It is what it is, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about the whole situation. What do you think about Frosk responding to her being semi-fired, semi-not fired? I think eventually she will be fired from G4TV or Xplay completely, because she's just a liability. Whenever you talk about that kind of stuff consistently, whenever you're that inflammatory towards a certain group of people, towards a certain part of your fan base that's pretty big, I think you're going to lose a lot of fans. And also, you're just going to have the discussions. You're just going to have, whenever people bring up G4TV or Xplay, they're never talking about it in a positive way anymore. They're never talking about the content that they put out. They're only talking about Frost, and they're talking about the things that Frost says in a negative way. So let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the future with G4TV. If you did enjoy the video, though, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link to that will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.